We can speak now to Abed Ayoub, who is director at the civil rights organisation Arab American Anti-Discrimination Committee. Good morning to you. There were pretty shocking scenes at airports over the weekend. People in tears because relatives weren't able to come into the United States. Other people prevented from boarding planes at all. Has there been any clarity on the ban from the White House? Because I know for sure that the UK government has managed to receive some assurances that British citizens will not be prevented from entering the US, and indeed dual nationality citizens coming from the UK as well.
Yes, and thank you for having me on. There was a lot of confusion and chaos the first few days, and it does continue. And there is a little bit of clarity on some of the categories, and you're right about the dual nationals coming with British citizenship, and that was one of the areas where there was a lot of confusion, because you do have a lot of Somali dual nationals, for example, that come from Britain to the U.S., and they were not allowed to enter. We also had lawful permanent residents or green card holders that were just abroad, and they were not allowed to re-enter, and that issue has been clarified as of this evening in D.C. So those folks are starting to come back in. They're starting to be permitted back into the country and to go back to their homes. But this is a long battle ahead. There's still a lot of ambiguity left, and a lot of legal battles happening across the country.
This is not the first time that a US president has issued travel bans. I mean, in 2011, there was a particular terror threat believed to be coming from people from Iraq. President Obama implemented a 6-month travel ban then on people from Iraq, I believe. So it's not unprecedented. Is it the scale of what President Trump is doing here? Is it the fact that it includes apparently people with perfectly legal green cards, for example?
Well, Obama's travel ban was not this broad, and it had added extra security measures for individuals to come here, and it stopped refugee screening. So it was not a full travel ban on individuals. So if you were Iraqi, you were allowed to come to the United States. This is the first time we've seen something like this in decades. The closest thing to this would be the ban on Iranian nationals in the late 70s, early 80s, but that was very limited for a very small period of time. This is very broad, and it is the first time we've seen something on this scale in this country. And the scenes at the airports were chaotic.
They really were, and in some cases, I mean, really upsetting as well. You know, the families were being divided, and there seemed to be, you know, a lot of confusion about whether people were able to come in or not. I wonder if you've been hearing from people who say, yes, but, you know, there is Islamic jihadist terrorism going on in these countries, and there are Americans, you know, who heard President Trump promised this when he was running for election. They liked the sound of it. They voted for him. They are not so worried, perhaps, about individuals caught up in this. They are mainly worried about, let's keep out those people who pose a threat. And what do you say to them?
Well, first, we've had a lot of individuals that are Trump supporters stand up against this program. Our office fielded thousands of calls this week, and we had many calls from Trump supporters who came out and said, I can't believe this is happening. We didn't sign up for this. This is not what our country is for. So you're seeing a shift in the American public and the American opinion. Many, and if when the polls do come out, I believe they will show an overwhelming majority will not agree with what we're seeing in this country, and singling out a single religion and a single ethnicity for these types of services. And for the people that believe that this is making them safe, it's not. This does not add any level of national security, does not make this country any safer at all. And the statistics and the numbers and actual facts, not alternative facts, actual facts show that this does not make the country safer. This is just a ploy, and it's a Muslim ban. It's what he promised in his campaign, and it's just a way for him to fill it easily by signing that executive order and implementing chaos over the weekend.
One of the problems, of course, it seemed to me when I saw the list of countries that were included, is it didn't include Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, for example, and the people who perpetrated the worst terror attacks in America in recent years all came from Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or countries like Egypt and so on. No mention of them on this banned list. So it seems to be a bizarre omission of the very countries which have actually produced terrorists who've attacked US mainland.
Well, the list itself and the order itself was very bizarre and left a lot of ambiguity. And what they'll tell you is, well, we can add countries later, we can remove countries. For us, it's not what country is on or what country could be added. For us, is this should not exist. This ban, these types of measures should not exist. And it should not include Saudi Arabia, should not include Pakistan, because it shouldn't exist. It should not be there completely. There are other ways to implement national security measures and at the same time protect the rights and liberties of your community and of the people here in this country and avoid such drastic measures as we've seen this weekend.